This is a billion times better. And you need to be building your guns. Brilliant! I like this. I'm a fan. And that just makes life just so much better. It's just good. You shouldn't be handing over a D810 to a 5-year-old child. But this was a first world problem solution for me. This is a heavy, serious workhorse for professionals or for incredibly enthusiastic enthusiasts. Okay, hi everyone. Here is my, I'm going to call this my final review of the Nikon, how can I show it to you again? D800, no sorry, the D810, that's what it is. It's not the D810, it's the D810. And this is just my opinion and the stats of the camera. So the camera, straight away, if you're buying it new, it's still in the UK in March 2016. It is £2,200 for the body alone, which is pretty darn expensive. It's a 36 million pixel sensor, which is slightly changed from what was in the Nikon D800. So we're told. Which means that they're able to bump the ISO, the native ISO range from the maximum on the D800 was 6,400. Here the native range goes up to 12,000, so a doubling of ISO, which can be quite handy in certain situations. And it's also still got its H1 and H2 settings so that you can go even higher, but that's just fake. That's just not meant to be really used. Additionally, the frames a second have gone up when you're shooting the full 36 megapixels. We're getting 5 frames a second. Well, it says that that's 5 frames a second. We've also got the obligatory quiet and quiet H mode. Quiet, which is a little bit more quiet, and the quiet C, which is quite continuous. Sounds like one of those weird like photocopy machines that you had to roll around in the past. Bit of an odd sound in there. But what I can say without doubt is that this, when taking a photo, is substantially more quiet than the Nikon D800 and most importantly the D750. I had the D750 at a wedding. Oh my god, it was embarrassing. I'll put a link to it down below, but I literally recorded with this camera, the GH4, in the corner, and you can hear my shutter going off in the back of the room with the D750.
We will be expressing very special for them both. Sorry. That comes from legally, because at this stage I saw Kerry, if you'd like to. That me to the exclusion of all that.
50. Just so noisy. This, the actual shutter, so much more quiet. I've got the beep on, so imagine the beep not being there. It is just substantially more quiet, and you can feel that there's less of a reverberation. However, opinion time here. With doing that, it doesn't quite sound like the machine gun camera. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so let you hear that again. That you normally had before. Normally, it did feel like you're going bang, 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 bang. That was on continuous single. I'll do it again. Bang, bang. Now it sounds like you're using a smaller gun, effectively. That's the only way to describe it. So that's my opinion on that. However, it can also do 6 frames a second when you put it in DX mode, which sounds like this. Again, sounds nice and fast, but again, is a lot more quiet. So you're going to be disturbing less people by doing that. Or the sound is going to travel less distance when shooting with the D810. So if you are a wedding shooter, the potential noise reduction in the shutter that you get with this, I think, is a game changer. Is worthy of the upgrade price, especially if you're a D750 shooter and you've ever kind of thought, oh, the shutter is so noisy. Especially when you're at a wedding and it's quiet, and you have it up here, and you take a photo and it just sounds so much louder in your head. That sounds so much more quiet, so much better. Next thing, the buttons, I quite love the buttons are fully programmable. So on the back, if I've got it in photo mode here, I have now established that the record button can be my ISO settings. So if I want to change my ISO now, let's see, can you focus? I press that and now I can rotate it. Brilliant. And if I want auto ISO, I just do that one at the front. Nice and easy. So this means now it's fully one-hand operational. If I'm doing manual, I can change my aperture at the front, I can change my shutter speed at the back, and if I press in that, I can change my ISO. I like that. I like to be able to control that all with one hand and using the other hand for stabilization. That is a good feature. I like that. Not to say that that wasn't in the other cameras, but just to know that that's a good feature. Now, the main reason why I went for the D810 is because of this button. Let's see, focus, 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 expose on it. The video feature, which if you click it into video and you don't press live view, it does nothing. It's still back to being taking normal photos, as you can see. So if you're in photo mode, video mode, press the live view, and now we've got video functions. Now this has got a couple of additional video functions which I quite liked. One, it's got zebras. Running horses in Africa. No, it has zebras which are effectively black and white lines that roll down the bits of the screen which are blown out white. So that gives you a good idea of going, oh, now I know what my exposure is. Oh my god, my back. So it took a while for me to get anything which is dark enough, but now hopefully you can see how there's a black and white pattern going up and down on the screen here. That's what we call zebra. So that gives you a good indication of what is blown out and generally your exposure range that you can go with. That is a handy thing. The other great thing is flat profile. You'll have seen in a video which I've done before, which hopefully I'll be linking up here somewhere. I did a video of me and my 1.5-year-old down in a restaurant, and I was shooting it in flat profile, and flat was a lovely way to shoot. All you need to do when you're bringing it into editing is add a teeny tiny bit of saturation. A little bit of saturation and the smallest bit of contrast, and boom, you've got a great home video. Would I recommend this for home videos? Oh no. Big no. No. If you are going, hey, I'm a new dad, I want a camera to go take pictures of my family and the holidays that we go in, don't buy this. No. Yes, you could. But don't buy this. Buy this one. This is what I'm using. The Panasonic GH4. This is a far better camera. The Panasonic GH4 for family stuff, for looking after your kids and taking pictures of them on holidays, and the autofocus and depth of field. Oh, just the Panasonic GH4, fantastic. Go for that. Save your money. Smaller, dinkier, better to use. This is a heavy, serious workhorse for professionals or for incredibly enthusiastic enthusiasts. We want to spend a lot of time putting this on tripods, figuring out how to use the electric front curtain, and making sure they get the sharpest lens kind of things. Not all, hey, I'll buy a kit lens and take some photos of my family. No, this is so fat and heavy. In fact, oh wait, I've got some scales. Let's take off the lens and the camera body on its own with battery and one memory card. That's a good that's pretty much a kilogram. 966 grams, or if you're a weirdo, 2 pounds, 2 things. If I was to combine that with the Tamron 24-70 VC lens, you're going for 1.85 grams, which is huge. Or if, I pressed the wrong button. Or 4.13 pounds. 4 pounds, 1 ounce. Ouch. Now, some additional information. So as I've said, the flat profile on this gives you so much more dynamic range when you're doing the video. The Zebras is very helpful. And it's got 60 frames a second, which is good. You can also get it so it's 50 frames a second, or 30 frames a second, or 25 or 24. It doesn't do 4K, that's the only thing, not that that's really important. Additionally, on the back, you're able to see you've got your audio recording, how good the audio is going on. And you've got, obviously, you've seen, if you're interested in the scene of the videos, you've got the separate opening compartments for all the different things from your mic. So your mic in and your headphone out, handy, that's really good. Your HDMI and your other one, your other things, wherever they are. And so those having those there are good. So it means you can be fully wired up to this. However, as I say, it's a heavy camera. Heavy isn't necessarily a bad thing. Certainly for video, sometimes people want to have the heavier the camera, there's a idea here, the heavier the camera, the more stable you are at shooting. If you have a light camera, a little dinky little camera, it's more shaky kind of thing. But with this, heavier, or if you're holding it in a rig, the extra weight is potentially gives you stabler motion. So whenever I've been shooting this for like my professional property work, it's hard to tell because I've got a VC lens in this, a vibration compensation lens, which would take out some of the shake. I'm obviously not going to do it with like a 50mm or something like that because you would never do it like that, but it's an idea to think about. And also if you're shooting at 60 frames a second and exporting at 30, you can slow the motion down by 50%, and then adding the image, the like post-stabilization afterwards is a really good way to get nice stable handheld footage. Okay, now about image quality. Image quality on this is stellar. I don't know if they're going to make a sensor which is better than this. What I will say, like, there's a lot of stuff about ISO invariance, and this, I would say, is a very ISO invariant camera or sensor. So in other words, if you shoot it, let's say you massively accidentally underexpose, you can in post increase your exposure afterwards with like Adobe Lightroom, and you won't get any worse noise than if you'd shot with a higher ISO, if that makes any sense. There is a limit to it though. So if you're shooting at, hey, this goes down to ISO 64, I'm going to shoot everything at ISO 64, 200th of a second, f8, it's just black, 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 black. There is a limit to how much Adobe Lightroom or whatever software you're using has the ability to rearrange the exposures. You know, if it's getting nothing, it's still getting nothing. You're not going to get a shot of the back of your lens cap on this. What I would say is that there's probably a good 3.5 to 4 stops of ISO invariance that you can get with the Nikon D810. Get that right. So in other words, if you're thinking, I really want to expose for the highlights, underexpose the shadows by 3 stops, and in post you will easily be able to up the exposure of the shadows by about 3 stops. If you're going more than that, you're bringing in noise. You're definitely bringing noise, and even color noise, which you can't get rid of, like big blotch colors rather than just the microscopic blotch. Microscopic color noises. So be aware of that. Don't be thinking, I read that this is ISO invariance, I'm shooting everything at ISO 64. It doesn't quite work like that. It works more like, hey, we're able to push the image just as much in post as we can in real life. However, there is a limit to that, and I would say it's about the 3.5 stops of exposure. So if you're totally 3 stops underexposed, which in real world is 2, 4, 8 times a shutter speed, or 8 times the ISO drop, or something else like that, then don't worry, you can still recover it without a problem. You can recover more, but then that's where you come into problems. Now, another thing about this that people said is the dynamic range of this is fantastic. If you go into DxO Mark, which I'm a little bit suspicious of just now, it's saying it's dynamic range is like 14 stops of amazingness at ISO 64. Blah 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 blah. I would say the dynamic range of this is stellar. Pretty much all cameras now are producing stellar images, unless you're going for like iPhones. In fact, even the iPhones are doing HDR and stuff like that. There's also an HDR function in this as well. It's crap, you don't want to use it, only pumps out a JPEG, it's pretty pants. But the dynamic range in this, whenever you're taking a photo, is very, very good. However, to get the most out of it, you need to be editing the photo. So don't be thinking, hey, I'm in a I'm in a dark room and there's a bright sun outside, I'll take one photo, boom, I'll be able to see everything. No, you've got to be doing some serious, you've got to have Lightroom, you've got to have photo editing software. You're not buying a D810 without being into photography and knowing what the sliders of all of the things in Adobe Lightroom do. You know, what does recovery do? What does that mean? No, you know that. Everyone knows that. That should be buying this camera, that's for sure. Another thing I find, okay, here's a good and a bad thing here also about the video, is if I'm in video mode just now, like I am just now, if I click record, we're recording, we're getting the full 30 minutes worth of recording, full HD, super duper duper. If I press the shutter, it will take a photo. The sound of it is the sound of the shutter taking a photo is far better than the D800. Listen to this, because I did a whole video talking about, ooh, it sounds like a soggy fart. So that's it with the live view on. Let's hear it. Ugh. And now if we're actually recording with it at the same time, it's recording, let's hear. Oh my God, that is the wet fart. This, I'll just put it onto manual focus. This, if you listen to the shutter, still sounds a bit long. Still sounds like it's taking a bit too long. There's like 3 things going on there, and that's it. Still taking photos at like, and when it does it, it stops taking the video. That's annoying. So it's not like it can continue taking the video. Like if I do again with the Panasonic GH4, if I'm doing a video and I press the button to take a shutter, take a photo, it will carry on videoing as well. And do you notice it? I can't remember. Hold on, I'll take a photo just now, and I will go la 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 la. We'll see if that stopped in editing, but effectively I just took a 60 megapixel photo while I'm still recording at full HD video. Nice! This, on the other hand, record, it's recording, take a photo, it's taking a photo, and now it's stopped recording. Oh, stopped recording! I was trying to get a photo mid-action, so that's not happening. There is a whole pile of stuff, so if you are looking afterwards, you've got a lot of retouch menus and stuff like that. There's a lot of guff software, I think that might be the right term, inside this, which is very amateur. That's the only thing. So I'm like, hey, cool, here's like, oh, let's do fisheye. Wow, I can fisheye my photos. This is a professional. This is a flagship professional camera. Why is it giving me the option in post to make a fisheye JPEG? It's great if I'm handing it over to like a 5-year-old kid and they go, oh, look what I can do. You shouldn't be handing over a D810 to a 5-year-old child. We've even got like selective color, miniature effect, color sketch, color outline. Just guff that wasn't needed and just takes up more menu space, which just makes it longer to go with it. Again, it's not a touchscreen, going on here. That's annoying. And frankly, I was a Nikon lover before I then went to Canon, and I remember making a video where I was complaining that Canon's menu systems, I just don't get it. Beautifully. No disappointment in any way about this camera at all. The only disappointment is more with my brain, trying to remember where the buttons are and trying to go through all the menus and get all the settings sorted. I now say Canon's menu systems are far easier to deal with than Nikon's. Just so many things going on here. So it is a full day and a half worth of menu reading and investigating and changing buttons and all that stuff. A full day before you even have a slight idea of what's happening in the menu settings. It's just way too much. Fortunately though, you can make a I don't know if this will be exposing right, a my menu setting, so you just put in the things which you want. So for me, I've got commander mode, talking about the flash. I've got my image area, whether it's DX or whether it's DX or full frame. I've got my movie settings, my battery info. Now, let's have a little look at the battery info button. Taken you can't see 468 photos and I'm down to 47% battery. Not hugely impressed with the battery life. So yeah, that's saying, okay, I'm getting about 1,000 potential photos. Got to remember that's with a VR lens, with autofocus, with a little bit of video, a little bit menu fanning around with, but I find that it's not as good as I want. So if you're getting this, get the extra battery pack and the extra battery so that you can just go shoot all day. This, I'm feeling like, is not a shoot all day single battery use. So you need either a second battery or get the extra battery pack. Again, if you're looking for another camera, the Panasonic GH4 is totally my shoot all day and the next day, photos, videos, everything, and never even worry about the battery kind of thing, kind of camera. So if you're wanting a camera where you don't want to worry about how many batteries you need to bring, Panasonic GH4 rocks it. Even though on, what was it? I was on some website, the CEPA battery thing, it tells you how many photos your battery takes. It says the Panasonic GH4 can only do 500, and it says this can do 1,200. In real life situations, GH4 has humped this substantially. I think it's because the bigger the sensor, the more output, difficult stuff going on in here, that it just drains the battery a lot more, especially when you're moving such big ass lenses and you're having to have a motor to screw all these things around or electricity to get it going. It uses up battery a lot more than a Micro Four Thirds camera. Another things I love about it, it's got the AF on button at the back, so I press that when it's not in manual focus, press that and it focuses, so that's great. You can just have it there, focus. It's got the auto exposure lock as well, so sometimes I'll have it in aperture priority mode and be like, okay, I'll just expose for the shadows, hold down AF lock, and then I'll come up to the whole scene and take the photo. Or with this, the high dynamic range, I will expose just for the bit where it looks like I'm getting some zebras into the highlights. Press exposure lock, bring it down so I'm exposing the whole area, and then take the photo. And I find that's a great way for me to get the image that I wanted for editing afterwards. Now, another thing I love, which was so annoying on the last couple of cameras which I had, the D600 and D750 didn't have this, is on the top is this, if you can see it, is the exposure meter up here. Oh, it's so good having that. So if I change the exposure, oh, just having that there is so beneficial for me. So finally, I can effectively have my camera at my chest level, and I know the exposure is going to be half a stop over or half a stop below. Nikon, whatever you do, never remove that exposure meter from the top there. I was Googling for days for photos and images of the upper part of this to see, does it have the exposure meter reading thing up there? And finally, when I got the D810, I was like, oh, finally, you've got it, good. However, it does disappear if you change like the mode setting to like programmed auto, it disappears until if you press the exposure compensation button and you press, let's say we make it up, now it's back. Yeah, happiness. That's the thing that makes me happy. Now, a minor, super minor little thing is, for me, I'm all about ultra wide. I love my ultra wide. And there's something that happens when you go from photo mode to video mode that is not quite as wide. We're losing a millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters at the widest setting. Let's see if I can show this to you. Okay, so if we're focused on this, I'm going to have the edge of this door in this picture right at the edge, and then if I click to video mode, see, it's disappeared. There it is in photo. Now it's gone in video. There it is in photo. Now it's gone in video. And that's it. You know, I haven't changed the settings and anything in the video. It's just crops it in a tiny little bit. Something which I didn't read about. I didn't see anywhere. It's not something which was brought up to my attention beforehand. But for me, certainly with my property work, I'm doing ultra wide angles. If I'm using the Tamron, which I'm about to get the Tamron 15 to 30 VC lens, that little bit could be squeezing it to like 16, 17 millimeters. That's annoying. Just a little annoying thing. Why does it do that? Why? Nikon, tell me why. There's no reason. The other thing which I'm a big fan of, which some people didn't know why they did it, is in this we've got both CF, compact flash, CF is short for compact flash, which is these fat cards, and SD card slot. I like that. I like having multiple media things. I have multiple computers, some in my office, some at work, so I have a laptop, all that kind of stuff. Laptop, it's so easy, just bring out the SD card and stick that in the side of my laptop and start editing the photos. If I'm in my office, I'll take out the compact flash card and stick that in. Because actually it's easier because with my compact flash the cable's already around at the front and the SD card slot is around the back. You need to fiddle to put it in. Minor issues, first world problems. But this was a first world problem solution for me. I like that, and I have again, I've been doing photography for so long. I have a raft of different media storage types, so CF and SD cards, lots of different ones, lots of different speeds, and it's great to be able to put them all inside this. What I would say, it does look like, I think the camera has a greater buffer squeezing ability to squeeze the images into the CF cards faster than the SD cards. Even if you've got a super fast SD card, if you've got equal speed SD card and CF card, again, this is just totally opinion, I may be totally wrong, but I feel it goes into the CF card a little bit faster. So if you're really like, oh, I need fast stuff, get a fast CF card, compact flash, stick that in there, and then use an SD card as your backup stuff. And I like having the ability to do RAW to one, JPEG to another, or RAW and photos to one, and the other one is just for videos. So handy. It's great because what I can do is I can send all my videos to my compact flash, all my photos to my SD card, and then I can give my compact flash card to my video editor and say, go, there's all the video stuff, and I'll take out the one with all the photos and I can edit them on separate computers, and that just makes life just so much better. It's just good, and there's no mix up. I know compact flash goes to that guy, CF card goes to me. No, SD card goes to me. Just a good thing. So additionally, other buttons, you've got the little button here for your pop-up flash. I like this. I'm a fan of the pop-up flash. The pop-up flash gives you ability to have commander mode, to use multiple flashes in different areas. If you're shooting portraits, especially with this, compact flash. You can have your pop-up flash here, a flash in the background, and a flash as your key light. And you can set it on the back of your camera, and you can change the settings. Fantastic, and it's all powered by this little thing. Saves you having to buy another flash on top of this. So that's good. You've also, at the side, you've got your little bracketing button. So if you press, can you see this? If I press this, suddenly we've got bracketing, and then we can choose how many brackets that we can do. We can do up to like 9 brackets of stuff. Brilliant! That's what I need. Bracketing, so if you're doing HDR editing afterwards in the computer, the bracketing button is what you want. And again, if you're doing that, you're shooting at 5 frames a second, use a tripod. And then below that button, you've got the flash. Now this is a difficult one to get into. This is your flash exposure compensation button down here. That's in a small finger biddy bit. That's not the most useful place for it. I would say it's more likely to have the flash little bitty button. If we had that beside the pop-up bit, that would be handy. But having it tucked in beside this little white dot, not that helpful. However, you can, through settings, change these buttons things. Oh, other thing I really like is the virtual horizon. Let's see if I've got this. If I press display, no, if I press info, no, if I press this info. Yes, so this info, look. Come on, let's change the exposure here. Look at that virtual horizon. I am flying in a spaceship, in a plane or something. That is awesome. I'm very useful again for the property photography stuff that I do, so I can, unfortunately I usually have it up to my chest because I'm shoved in the corner of a room and I'm like, and all I need to see is green light, and then I'm like, bang, cool. And I know I got the photo spot on level, and that's me nice and happy. The only thing I would say is that you need to spend some time getting used to what the different buttons are. So you've got your I button for info, and then you have your info button, and then you also have your OK button, which does other things, which gives you either your exposure simulation or just the thing which isn't your exposure simulation. Don't know why you choose that. Your info button gives you the options of your live view display settings, and also then the other info button gives you either your grids, your super thing, or other things. There was also a, where's the, here it is. You've got a split screen. Let's see if we can get this going. A split screen focusing feature. However, it's, so there, we can zoom in a little bit, which is so handy for doing it. However, it's so embedded in menu systems and button pressings is unfortunate. It's not something which is getting used as much as I think it potentially should be used for, because it's very handy. So in the end, my review of this, I would say this is the Nikon D810 is a stellar camera. It's sensor, fantastic. The detail, amazing. Make sure you get good lenses for it. It's video features, handy, yet not quite to the level which I'm hoping for, where you would also have peaking, which shows you what is in focus kind of stuff, and doesn't have 4K. Not that I use that, but it would be good to have the opportunity, like I have with the Panasonic GH4. Its focus is saying that it's meant to be like the new latest super fast kind of thing. Can't say I've really noticed it being any faster than what I had on the D750 or the D800 when I had those either. It's not like I've gone, oh wow, the focus is like amazing. It's more just like, yeah, it's kind of focusing at the same speed. That may be down to the lenses that you use. I'm not 100% sure, but certainly I'm in super low light just now, and if I take a photo, it's fine in focus. It's fine in focus. It does it. It does it fine. But it's not something I would be writing home about. The image quality, I've said, is fantastic. The dynamic range is great as long as you're editing all the photos. And the ISO ability is superb. The only downsides about this, as I've said already, the battery, not fantastic, not blowing me away. So it's good in terms of other digital SLRs, but it's got so much to deal with, and especially you're going to be using it with big fat lenses with having to use a lot of stuff. It's not going to be, hey, I'll take one battery, we'll use it for the weekend. It might not happen, especially if you're having to go through all the menu systems and go, how do I do this? It's not touchscreen at the back. I want touchscreen. Especially in like zooming in, just like, oh, what was that? Let's zoom in, let's focus in, which I can do in Panasonic GH4. This is almost becoming more of an advert for the Panasonic GH4 than it is for the D810. And the final thing I would say about it is just its weight, its girth. I would say, again, talking about Panasonic GH4, I have been spoilt with how light and efficient the GH4 is. So light, so dinky, the lens is so small. I'm using a 7 to 14mm ultra wide. So if I zoom into 14, that's the equivalent of 24 on this. And in video, the focusing is good, as in I don't really have to do anything, and well, maybe I've just failed on that example, but it does the job really well, and it's only in specific situations where you need this. What I would say is this and that and the Panasonic GH4 hump the Canon 5D Mark II, that's for sure. So the only thing is weight with this. So if you're like me, a little bit disabled with back pain, carrying 2 kilograms worth of camera, including flash and everything, on your rucksack in your back, gets a bit heavy and a bit irritating, especially when I'm about to go get the Tamron 15 to 30mm VC, which is another huge lens. It's a heavy thing, and you need to be building your guns, that's for it, if you're going to be using this all day. In comparison to doing with Panasonic GH4, it's so light, it's so small, and the battery lasts for weekends, like actual weekends. So, okay, enough about the Panasonic GH4, all about the Nikon D810. Fantastic camera. I recommend everyone to buy it. If you've got the D810, if you've got the D800 to upgrade, now, if you're buying second hand and you've got the option of a D800 for, let's say in the UK about, let's say if you can get a D800 for £1,000 in the UK second hand, and if you can get a D810 for, let's say, £1,500, if you're only into photos, don't bother. If you're into video, I would say it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth the extra stuff here. If you've got a Canon 5D Mark II, like what I did, this is a billion times better than that. In functionality, in video and everything, everywhere. And worth all the money that it costs. Buying new, even today, £2,200. Difficult one to say yes to that one, but second hand you can save almost £1,000 buying this second hand. That's great value. Go for that. So there you go, that is my super extended, super awesome, the bestest review you're ever going to hear about the Nikon D810.